Hello, everybody. This is Justin, your friendly neighborhood metalhead here from This Day in Metal, and I'm here. I'm never sure where to point. Is Mike Leon from Soulfly, bunch of
How's it
other
going?
projects. Mike, thank you for giving us the time to chat with you. How you doing today, man?
My pleasure, dude. Thanks for having me. I'm
No
doing quite
problem.
well.
All right, well, let's get started with the basics. How did you join Soulfly?
Well, as you may know, or maybe those of you listening may not, I was in a band called Havok from Denver, Colorado. It was a thrash metal band. Actually, that album right there. We were touring on that album, Unnatural Selection, back in 2013. And we got an offer. Well, we had a single called Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death, and it was pretty well received. Max actually was a fan of the song and a fan of the album. So they reached out, the Soulfly camp reached out to us and offered us a direct support slot for just Soulfly and Havok
Mhm.
to tour across the United States, and we took it. And I immediately, like the first day was in at Trees in Dallas, the venue Trees, and the first day was like, oh, we're gonna get along famously. And by the end of the first week, I knew the code to the bus. So like as soon as the Havoc van would pull up, I'd be like, get out of the Havoc van and go like knock knock knock, like who's ready to smoke one? You know what I'm saying? So we got off famously, and kept in touch after that tour. And when the time came and Tony Campos left Soulfly for Fear Factory and Ministry, um, Gloria actually hit me up on Mother's Day, of all times. I just so happened to be in Arizona
Okay.
and playing in a band called Arsis. We were playing in Arizona right down the street from the Cavalera's house, Max and Gloria's house.
Mhm.
And I saw their assistant Brian pulled up, and he was just like, I knew you were gonna be here. I just figured I would say what you were up to. And I was like, I'm not doing shit. And they were like, he was like, do you want to come have dinner with us at their house? And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we went and had a Mother's Day dinner with Glow and Max and the family and the tribe. And she asked me if I would be interested in filling in for some dates. And I said, absolutely. She sent me the new album at the time, which was Archangel. And I learned the entire thing. I learned like 30 something songs. And just when that was happening, my time with Havoc was coming to a close. So I basically just had, Dave send all my gear from Denver to Arizona and got on tour. Spent about 3 months living with Max and Zion in the mountains of Arizona and Phoenix, and then I joined the band, and that was 9 years ago. Coming up,
Geez, that was 9 years ago. I did read
was
online, and you can confirm this or not, because I know you mentioned you when Tony left. Did you take a was Igor Max's son playing bass in the band, and you took over in that role? Like, was he temporary, or he was going to be the bassist, and then Max was like, "I want you instead." No pun intended. No offense, Igor.
I don't know. That's a
Okay,
good question. But it was, yeah, that's what happened. Tony left, and then they had some like tour commitments,
okay,
and Igor stepped in and kind of filled the void for a moment, but they were looking for somebody permanent, and I think Igor wasn't necessarily like interested or something like that, but
okay.
it just was, no, not the right situation at the time, but they were looking for somebody permanent who was ready to tour 200 years, 200 years, 200 days a year, which I was at the time. So stepped in, stepped up.
Nice. And you did get your start with the melodic death metal band, The Absence, and you were with that project. And we talked beforehand for the viewers who are missing it for about 15 years. Um, is How did it kind of feel transitioning from doing the melodic death metal sound that you had to kind of going more towards the thrash sound of Havok? I mean, was it a lot of difficulty? Was it easy? What was kind of the writing differences with that?
Damn, dude, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. You did your research. Well, yeah, I was really young when I joined the Absence. I would just turn 20 and we did our first tour with them. Back in 2007 was the no, it was the Metal Blade 25th anniversary tour with Cannibal Corpse, Black Dahlia Murder, The Red Chord, Goat Whore, and The Absence, which was
Mhm.
a killer tour. And
No kidding, no.
so that band, that was like my first introduction to touring and like playing professionally. And I would say the absence taught me how to play like really articulately and quickly, because before then I was kind of just like, doing my best to botch Children of Bodom songs and whatnot, playing along with some Slayer and Malevolent Creation, that kind of thing, Rage Against the Machine.
Hmm.
But yeah, so my approach with the absence was a lot more melodic. I was trying to they had a lot of previous work that I had to kind of learn. Like I learned the whole From Your Grave album. I had to learn the Riders of the Plague album, which was the one that we were touring on that was released just before the tour started. And that was really fast. A lot of technical stuff, but a lot more just trying to be like a pocket player, and lock in with the drums and let the melodies kind of fly around. There's a lot of guitar work going on in the absence. But then joining in Havok was a lot more bass centric. Dave loves a strong bass, and the my predecessor Jesse De Los Santos, absolute shredder. Like I've said it before, I was always say it. You have to be a shredder to play in Havok. That's a prerequisite. So kind of taking what I learned from the absence and applying it to Havok, it was a lot more groove than I was used to, a lot more like funk influenced. He was listening to a lot of ST and stuff, tons of Megadeth. Like it was just a crazy crossover. I've never really been a thrash guy, but I ended up joining one of the better thrash bands in the genre in the last, this generation, I think for sure. I
Yeah.
was a big fan of the band before I joined, and then getting to play with them was really great. And I got to sharpen my tools, and introduce a lot more slap bass. So I think that was really one of the key ingredients to joining in with Havok, was that I got to showcase some of my prowess as a slap bass player that I didn't really get to use in the absence much.
Ah, which makes sense. And definitely that was my other question I was going to ask, because I'm fascinated with bass. I've tried to learn it and I can't get the slap finger technique. I know I could probably Google it and figure that out, but
Easier than you
it's
think, brother. Let me know
it,
if you need some pointers, all right? Got a strong thumb.
but it's fascinating to watch you kind of play with your finger and do the thrashing stuff. And I don't know, like with the absence and with Havok and kind of those thrash metal influences, is it hard to do bass playing fingering style in that genre? Is it difficult for you? Is it easy for you?
I would definitely not say that it's easy, because both of those bands are very technically proficient. It definitely takes a lot of homework to be done to be able to keep up with those guys. Um, that being said, yeah, just like what we were saying, being part of the journey, like learning and spending the time that I did with the absence prepared me for Havok. And not being much of a thrash guy, I was very new to the genre, so I was learning a lot while I was with those guys. But Dave kind of let me do my thing, and I think that was really something that we were friends, before I joined the band, and we toured together. The Absence and Havok toured together, and
Hmm.
then Pete Weber played drums in the Absence for an entire tour when our drummer had to sit out. So we got really close then. But like, yeah, Dave, kind of worked with me on some things and showed me kind of what he was expecting. I knew what I was getting myself into, but I definitely had to push the envelope quite a bit to keep up with some of the stuff off like Time Is Up, dude. There's some burners on that album, like
Oh yeah.
burners. And then we really, we got a lot of quick songs on Unnatural Selection as well. So a lot more. I think I'm a bit more proficient with my triplets
Mm.
than they had in like the Time Is Up album and stuff like that. And transitioning from like fingerstyle into slap style was
Mhm.
something that I was like a little more proficient with, I think so. And you can really hear that on Unnatural. But yeah, it was difficult. There was a lot of homework, brother. A lot of homework.
Well, because yeah, especially with thrash, it's all speed. So I don't. And again, some bassists are super fast with the fingering, like Steve DiGiorgio, and like the guys in Archspire, where they can just flail on their fingers. But I don't know if you tried to do it with a pick, or if you're like, I just can't do a pick, man. It's just
I
so much
can't.
easier with. You just
I
can't.
still struggle. I still struggle with a pick. I try during the COVID lockdown.
Mm.
I actually was like, you know what? I'm gonna try my best with a pick, and then I have a pick right here, one that I made of my own. If you can see that, yeah, the Riff
Nice.
Vortex. I Gloria actually got me into the pick game. She was like, I know you don't use them, but they're fun, cool things for people to collect, and they
Oh
throw
yeah.
them out. She was like, Steve Harris has picks. He doesn't use them, but he throws them out. And I was like, all right, if Steve Harris can do it, then I
Yeah.
can do it too. So that was the birth of the pick world. And I actually play with him fairly often. I did an entire tour actually with the Cavalera project
Hmm.
doing Return to Roots in South America. I think it was
Nice.
2022 or three. Dino Cazares was playing with us,
Yeah.
playing guitar with us. So I did a challenge because I was like, well, I'm touring with Tio Dino, the master, the right hand master, like
Yeah.
machine. I
Hmm.
made a personal challenge to myself, like I'm gonna play every note with a pick this entire tour. It was like a bet that I had with myself, and I did it. And it was fun. It
Nice.
was that was probably the only album I could have ever gotten away with doing that. You know,
That's good to know. I mean, yeah, because I think I read online that you struggle with the pick, but again, with COVID, like I don't know how long we're going to be here. I need something to do. And again, it's versatility. I mean, you can do so
yeah.
much with your fingers and, thumb and plucking and all that, like guitar and drums, or not guitar and playing with a pick. You really can just go up, down, up, down, up, down. So you're really kind of limited. So it makes the challenge that much harder. Like, how can I get that same effect, but only going up, down with like two fingers kind of thing? So,
You got the double thumb technique as
oh,
well that
yeah.
a lot of folks use in bass, and I'm not as proficient as I'd like to be, but I've implemented it quite a few times,
Hmm.
out of necessity. And
Hmm.
another thing that I started doing when I started playing with the Cavalera projects, doing Beneath the Remains and Arise, was using my thumb as like the first stroke and then doing three. So if I was doing um like almost like a tremolo thing, instead of doing like subdividing my three strokes,
Yeah.
I would go 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 da 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 da
Oh,
da 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 da.
that makes sense.
And that for me made a little more sense, like intervals with four instead of three,
Hmm.
because a lot of that stuff is just like relentless,
Yeah.
relentlessly fast.
Yeah. I don't know how people have carpal tunnel just going that fast for 30, 45 minutes. Just no, I don't know how
I
they
got
do
the
it, man.
burn. I got that burn. I was like, how do people do this, dude? And I'm like not even good at it. Crazy.
Oh. And then while I was also researching more for the interview, I did find out you did play on the band. I had to clarify this: the band Igor, not Igor Cavalera, like the band Igor's newest album, Spirituality and Distortion. How did that
Right.
kind of collaboration come together?
Um, just like every other collaboration in my life, dude. Just being at the right place at the right time. That's how I got into Absences, got into Havok, and just meeting people on the road, making yourself available and opportunities arise, and being friendly to folks is exactly what happened when I met Gutier in the camp, the Igor camp. We were on tour in Europe, playing a festival somewhere, I think in Italy or maybe it was France. We were on the beach. I just talked about this with Gautier like a couple weeks ago because it was like our friend anniversary or
Hmm.
whatever. Like I think this was back in 2000. Wow, 2000. It must have been 2017 or 18 now. It's been a while. But we were playing this festival. It was Soulfly, the DJ
Hmm.
Perturbator.
Perturbator, yeah.
That's how you say it. You say it
I
with
think it's
confidence.
Perturbator, I believe. I'm not
I'm
100%, but I believe that's how it's pronounced.
gonna follow your lead. Trust you on that one. But it was us and Amur and Igor and a few other bands from like regional bands. And Soulfly played during the day, and we are getting off stage, tearing down our gear, walking back to the bus, and I'm changing out of my stage clothes and hanging out with a guitar tech at the time. And Igor, the band, started playing, and the stage was pretty close to the bus. And I'm listening, and I'm like, what the hell is all this nonsense? Sounds like a circus, like a black metal
Yeah.
bus run into a circus tent. Like, what is happening over there? So curiosity got the best of me, and I was like, dude, let's go check this out. I have to see
Mhm.
what's happening on stage. And we got there, and I saw, Gautier doing his thing, and like with a DJ setup. I was like, what? And then I saw Lori like floating around doing her thing, and Laurent's up there looking like a madman, and Sylvan just blasting like a machine. I was like, this is madness.
Yeah.
And their tour manager, who is actually Gautier's girlfriend at the time, I was like, what? Who? I didn't even know it was Igor. I was like, who is this? And where are you from? And what is happening up there? She's like, oh, this is Igor from France. This is, what they do. And I was like, I love it. I love it. Like, wow, like bravo. I was that guy that was like, yeah, 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 after every song. And at the end, I was like, oh my God, dude. Like Gutier walked over and everybody came on. I was like, that was amazing. Like, tell me everything about all of you right
Yeah.
now. And then, of course, we went back to the dressing room and drank a little bit of wine, smoked a little bit, got to be good friends. And they hooked me up with some swag. And we played another festival with them called Metal Days in Slovenia like a week or so later, and we both had like researched one another. And Gautier and I met up again, and he was like, "Hey man, we were just talking shop," and he was like, "Would you be interested in maybe collaborating on a track for the next album?" And I was like, "I would be honored, dude, like honored." And that ended up becoming track number 11 on the Spirituality and Distortion record called Paranoid Bulldozer Italiano. And the name is super fitting because it sounds just like it. And it's like basically like one part Aphex Twin, one part Mozart, and one part like Immortal.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It,
I love it. It's one of my favorite tracks I've ever done to this date.
yeah. They're such a unique band. It reminds me of kind of like that Mike Patton, like Mr. Bungle, Phantomist. Like you come in, you see like, what the hell am I watching? And then it also reminds me of that Simpsons meme of like, I saw some spooky, weird, creepy thing. I don't know what it is, but I want in. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
what that band is like. I don't know what this is, but sign me up and give me my firstborn because I need to be involved in
Yeah.
whatever this project is.
I didn't understand it at all. And I know I'm not sure do still. And I'm not sure I want to. I like the surprise. It keeps me on my toes. So, and it was really cool because since then, Gautier actually had me involved with another project with him, and we got to do another track together for this gentleman called Aldebert
Mm.
from France, and we just put out an album with him a couple months ago.
Hmm.
It's called Heldebert, and Aldebert makes like rock and roll for kids, but this was
Oh,
like a metal. This is like a metal album. So
nice.
he had Gautier do a track because he's from France. They're both French, and the Gautier invited me to play bass on it, and that song is called La Princesa, and that's
Nice.
also I think track number 11, which is weird, which is super weird because now I've worked with Gautier twice, and I just so happened to be track 11, so it's like a thing now.
It's you need to like tie that number to something, either get that tattooed. Like
Ah,
it's gonna keep coming up. Like something's gonna come. Like you're gonna be on the 11th Soulfly album on the 11th day.
I
Like
think I
whatever.
was. I think I
Yes,
might have been on the 11. I don't know, man. Maybe we're
Because I
onto
think Ritual
something.
was your debut, right? If I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
Ritual was the one.
Yeah,
Can
I'd
we
have to
do a
double check.
fact check on that?
I'd have to double check because I can't remember. I know Soulfly is at least over 10, but I don't know if you were on 11 or 12. But I'm trying to think of
I
like.
think you're onto something, dude.
Uh,
I'm gonna Google it right now while I talk to you. I can multitask.
If not, I'll be really scared if I fact checked incorrectly online in front of the internet. Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh,
Thank you,
dude.
Lord Marco, for pointing that out to me as
Oh,
well.
dude, it is. It is the 11th album, brother. Look at that. Now
Oh,
it's even cooler. We got to unearth that live on the stream.
you're gonna have to
Holy
point that out
shit.
to Max, but they get all the crew will be like, dude, I just learned this today. Like, there's somehow it's
I'm
freaking
connected to
fate.
11. The 11th hour.
Oh, yeah. If you have that on the next album, like I have to do this. I have like 311s. There has to be a side to this. Oh my god,
Fuck
that's
yeah.
hysterical. Oh, okay. Focus,
So
focus,
sick.
focus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got a tangent going.
No, I mean that was a good tangent. I was just eyeballing guessing on the tip of my head on that one. So that was just pure damn
Nailed
luck
it.
on that.
Nailed it.
And then I saw on Instagram you announced a secret project. As a journalist, I'm gonna poke. Are
Okay.
you able to give any detail on what the project is? You don't have to give me like everything, but like even a hint of like what it could be, what it is about.
Here's a hint. I'm gonna play bass on it.
Oh, no, blowing my mind on that one,
I
man.
know that's the left field. I know. Calm
That's
down.
complete. I have to try. I'm perfectly gonna. I had to try on that one.
No,
So,
it's cool. It's cool, and it's one of those things where when we look back on this interview, we'll be like, "Damn, you were closer than you thought you were."
is there
And then
11
mark
tracks
my
on the
words.
album?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet, but if there are, I'm gonna make sure I'm playing on the 11th song. I bet. Bet on that.
You'll do a hidden track for the 11th. Like if we're 10, like we're doing a 30-second track. I don't care.
Yeah, that's it.
Did you work on the project while Max was doing Cavalera and Go Ahead and Die, or was this before that time frame?
It's actually coming up pretty soon. I've been working on it back here, down here in Florida, kind of sharpening the tools as it were, getting ready. But yeah, it'll be. I think people will know about it by the early next year. It'll be out there, and I'm not sure when it will release. I have no idea,
Okay.
but it's going to be awesome.
Okay.
I'm very excited about it. Very, very excited about it. So.
I'm curious to hear. I mean, you hyped it up. I love your playing. And again, I love the secrecy because then it makes everybody think, okay, what are you going to do with it? What kind of music is it going to be? Are you on a label? All that fun stuff. Because sometimes you could figure it out by the
Oh yeah.
label, like, oh, if it's all black metal, like you're leaning towards that, but who knows on that kind
No,
of
I
thing.
can't
So
give you any hints because figure somebody will figure it out.
I get it. Again, I had to pry. I'm a journalist. I got to do that kind of stuff. So,
Good
um,
on you.
yeah. You did start on Twitch under twitch.com/slash Mike Leon Shreds. What got you into doing Twitch? And then what can kind of the new viewers or people interested in checking you out will expect when you do it?
Well, that was another COVID project, when the world stopped turning and somebody that usually plays about 200, 150 to 200 shows between all the bands I was associated with at that time.
Hmm.
We had a huge year planned in 2020 between Cavalera and Soulfly and the Absence, and all of it just stopped abruptly. So during that, quite a few of my friends and fellow musicians were talking about doing this Twitch thing, and I had already kind of known about it because a couple of DJs that I was listening to around, that I was friends with in Tampa, they were doing like venues. Instead of having like people at the venues, they would just set up some static cameras
Hmm.
and just do lights and stuff. So that it was like kind of like being there, you could watch it and be like, oh man, a little nostalgia or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there was guys like Matt Heafy
Yeah.
that were playing music on
Mhm.
stream, and I was like, all right, let me study this a bit. And shout out to Matt. He definitely inspired a whole wave of
Yeah.
musicians. He paved the way for all of us
Hmm.
and kind of gave us all like a platform to do that on during a very strange time. But between watching them and then my manager at the time for the Absence, he was streaming video games on there. And I was like, you do video games and music? Like, I got all the time in the world. I need to do this. Like, what do you? And I
Yeah.
asked him, he was like, yeah, people can subscribe to you. Like, they get little emotes and stuff like
Hmm.
this. And I was like, you're getting paid to do this? And he was like, yeah, dude, I made a couple $100 last month. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
stop everything.
Yeah.
I gotta go. And then I spent about a month just really grinding, like building like a intro brand to like branding myself as Mike Leon Shreds. I rebranded my Instagram, all my handles on all my socials and everything like that. I created a logo that was one part the Absence, one part Soulfly, and one part Cavalera, all the projects I was involved in at the time. And that was my initial logo,
Hmm.
and I went live with it for the first time. Actually, 2 days from now will be my 4 year anniversary streaming
Congrats
for
on
the
that.
first time. Thank you.
Nice.
So yeah, it was just born out of necessity and boredom. And I was like, I don't want to lose all my momentum playing wise. So if I'm gonna practice, I might as well turn on a camera, practice, you know, hanging out with everybody because I like hanging out, like chatting with folks, and it was just a perfect storm, man. And it took off for me, like, hanging out with a lot of other friends that did it. Like Daniel DK was one of the first ones that really was streaming a lot. And I made friends with a lot of the Rocksmith community, like dudes like Chainbrain and Young Gun. All those guys, they really taught me a lot. And I kind of learned the business, got a moderation team
Hmm.
together, and we just built it from there, dude. And I ended up launching my own brand. I've got, everything from sunglasses to basketball shorts to weed grinders to shot glasses, whatever you need, bro. I got
Uh,
something for you. But it was awesome. It was a really cool way to express myself and kind of give me a little confidence boost in a
Mm-hmm.
very confusing time. I kind of could step away as my own and not just be playing, you know, the music that I was known to play, but like stuff like Primus
Yeah.
and a lot of my influences that never would usually get to be playing on a stage, you know, showcasing what I was capable of and what made me fall in love with the instrument in the first place. So it
Yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of the cool thing with Twitch. And like you said, Matt Heafy, Herman Lee does it. I know like a
Herman
lot of
Lee, yeah.
YouTubers like Nick Nocturnal will like write a song with the audience and kind of like, what do you guys think of this? And do this and
Yeah.
practicing and all this other stuff. I mean, heck, people do lessons. I mean, even if you just hopped on for like 20 minutes, like, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to do the slap thing real quick and just
Yeah.
get the comments and do that. I mean, it kind of Twitch kind of saved music for that dark time of COVID and YouTube and doing those live concerts like Psycho Stick would do that. I think Down was on the
Loved it.
talks to do that where they were like, let's just do a concert, everyone tune in at 8, donate, whatever, and do that. I mean, Twitch really did kind of pick up where, COVID kind of killed the live venue thing. So it's definitely like
Absolutely.
definitely saved it for that. All right. Last question I have. I always end every interview with this kind of fun question. What are some bands or artists that you were digging or Soulfly's digging or all your other projects are digging that you think people should be checking out? It could be popular bands, it could be indie unknown stuff. What are kind of some records or bands you're digging people should hear about?
Dude, I listen to the weirdest music. I am like the worst metalhead. I listen to so much different shit, but I guess some of the main stuff that I listen to during the day, I put on a lot of this group called One O Tricks Point Never. It's a lot
Okay.
of like electronic stuff. Not a lot of folks that I know really know about it. It's kind of crazy,
Mm-hmm.
kind of Aphex Twinny a little bit. Very electronic. I'm not sure where they're from, but I absolutely am obsessed with their music. I love it. Been
Mm-hmm.
listening to them for a while. I've been listening to a lot of Sleep Token
Mm-hmm.
because they got the big vibe. I don't know what they do, something to me. I don't know what it is, but I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening to a lot of Villa Vallo's new project VV because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
huge him fan, as you could tell by
Yep.
the multiple
Heartagram.
heartograms
Yep.
in my life. And honestly, I know I might catch some slack for this, but I don't care, dude. I love falling in reverse, dude.
Yeah.
I
I
love
can't blame you.
falling in
Yeah.
reverse because I kind of dig what Ronnie's doing right now, just as like a front man and standing up for what he believes in. I think that's really something that's important and kind of a lot of musicians and folks in this industry have lost their way a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely like, bearing the torch for that. And I respect that a lot. I got a lot of respect for what he's doing there. But then just when it comes to like the level of production
Oh yeah.
and like songwriting that he does and seeing them live for me was like, all right, I'm done. I've
Yeah.
seen him 3 times this year already. My wife and I went to go see him with Disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we played Welcome to Rockville the same day as them with Soulfly. Caught them doing that track Ronald with
Yeah.
Alex Terrible and Tech Nine.
9. Mm-hmm.
Insane,
Yeah. Yeah.
insane. And then we saw them again at Sonic Temple from the side of the stage. Like we didn't see them that time so much, but we were drinking at the VIP tent and kind of hearing it from side. Ronnie Radke walked right past me. Actually, my wife and I were at the um, what do you call that? The catering for
Yeah.
lunch at Sonic
Mm-hmm.
Temple, and Ronnie and his entourage was next to us, and I was like, oh my god, I got nervous. I wanted to so
You
bad to be like,
fanboy.
yo, dude, I want to do so bad. I'm the worst, bro. It all that same thing happened with Villa Vallo when we were
Yeah.
playing the Sick New World Festival last year. I was like, I saw him and I could have gone up to him, but I was just like, there's very few people that would do that for me, and those two guys, I was just like, I can't.
Nice.
But yeah, it was cool. So yeah, that's what I've been listening to a lot lately. Just trying to keep it real. A lot of what's that? Fit for an Autopsy, bro. Fit for an
Yeah.
Autopsy for
That was a
me
good
has
record
been
too.
crushing it, crushing
Yeah.
it, and Lorna Shore.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it as far as like modern stuff for me.
Mm-hmm.
And In Flames, always In Flames. I'm always listening to In Flames. I
Oh
will
yeah.
never stop.
Yeah. And again,
Like
don't be nervous about not rock metal listings. When I interviewed Rob Wharton of Cognitive, all of his stuff was hip hop. So you were not the only one of like, I don't listen to metal, like, or I do, but like not all the time kind of thing. It's not, death metal in my brain all the time thing. So
I
I
love
completely get it, man.
I love some hip hop, but right now nothing's really doing it for me. It's just not really on my radar. I'm going through a phase, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I know Tech Nine's gonna have a collab album coming out soon, so I'm psyched for that. And I think he's got a new album too, so I'm stoked. He never disappoints, so he'll be a good one to check out. So all that fun
Killer.
stuff. So, all right, Mike, I'm gonna let you go, Mike. I appreciate the time to talk with us. Good luck on your secret project. Good luck with the upcoming tour in Europe for Soulfly, all that other stuff. Again, thank you for the time, all that stuff. Good luck with Twitch. You have a good night, my friend.
Yeah, you too, brother. Thank you for the time and attention. See you guys in the future.
You too. You have a good night, man.